biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, that thing that like wakes you up at night, or that thing that drives you crazy when you're driving in your car and you're on your own, or you're like really trying to like shut it down, or you wake up with it in the morning and it's like, oh, I don't want this kind of day. That thing, whatever is that, when you think about it, how does it make you feel? If you could put it in one or two words, whatever you answer, whatever your listeners are answering, that is what the Fix code helps you with.
That was Stacey Nye, and you've landed on the Me&my Health Up podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Hartcher, your Wellsiage, and today I have Stacey Nye to enlighten you on the F.I.X code method. Yes, Stacey Nye is a F.I.X code method practitioner, and she shares with me how the F.I.X code works, and it's particularly for those that have their emotions running them. So if your emotions are running your life and you're constantly rewinding and playing and reliving events, things that haven't worked out for you, then this episode is for you, because the F.I.X code method really helps you detach from these emotions that are running you. So without much further ado, I'd love to welcome you into the discussion I'm having with Stacey Nye. Welcome on the Me&my Health Up podcast. How are you, Stacey?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing?
Fantastic. So great to have you on. Really intrigued and curious about what you do and how you do it. And, I guess what's in it for your clients and today's listeners. So before we get underway with what you're doing, I'd love you to share your backstory as to how you arrived at what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story. In hindsight, I kind of look backwards and go, wow, like that's what all that was for. Born into an Olympic family. Both my parents were involved with the Olympics in the 70s and the 76 Olympic Games. So I was born in the 60s. So my entire like imprint stage of 0 to 7 was all about watching the Olympic Games be built. Everything from groundbreaking all the way up to the Olympic Stadium and opening ceremonies in the athletes' village, and just being a part of this, amateur sport and my parents' specific sports, but just being a part of something that big. And then also, my summer camp, call it, was one summer was the Olympics, one summer was Pan Am's, one summer was Commonwealth. So we were schlepped all over the world to these incredible events that were just normal to us. And my surroundings of people were, brilliant and, bigger than life kind of minds and personalities, and could really like come up with like they were brilliant minds, and they were minds of the future. So this was again part of my imprint stage, and part of my surroundings, and the people that were in my life taught me to think big, be big, have a big impact. If you're going to move, make it purposeful. Don't waste your energy on crap or whatever. Like think it through. Look at all of the things that could happen if you did this, and make sure you have impact in a good way. So I had this kind of phenomenal younger years. Teenage years were incredible. 20s were awesome. 30s were awesome. And it all started for me from a career perspective, that when I was 16, my dad was president of the Commonwealth Games Federation and asked me if I wanted to go with him and work for the summer. I'm like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So off I took off to Scotland in 1986 and had my first real like working job. Before I was just free labor where they would put the kids to work. This time it was like official. So I was really excited, and I said to my dad at the end of the Commonwealth Games, I want to do this for a living. Like I absolutely fell in love with what I do. And his answer to me was, "Oh, sweetie, like I know your heart's in the right place, but there's no money in amateur sport. We do all this for free." And I was like, "Oh, like volunteering, right?" And I was like, "Really? I'm dumb. Like I'm gonna try to make a living out of this." And I did. I ended up with a 25-year career with the Olympic Games, Commonwealth, Pan Am's. Like I was all over the world doing amazing stuff, and learning from amazing people. What someone had asked me, they're like, were you ever afraid of how big everything was? And I'm like, no, because my dad was on the top floor. The people I grew up with were all around me because they were the senior guys. And so I always felt supported. I always felt like I had somewhere to go if I couldn't figure something out. I could go into like, I mean, they were the VPs and all the big guys, but I knew them all. So I never felt hung out to dry or in over my head, and I'm sure I spent 20 years well in over my head. I just didn't notice. So then as I'm like kind of cruising along, this particular night in 2002 knocked me on my ass. So there was a trauma night. It was a trauma event that really I had no skills to navigate my way through this, or I didn't even know how like this existed. And I didn't know that there was such a thing as like this much fear or this much terror that I couldn't shake. I couldn't like get out and around it. I couldn't figure it out. And I'd always been able to figure everything else. So to not be able to emotionally get through something was really striking. Like I was like, all of a sudden starting to feel weak and starting to feel like I'm not strong enough as a person, or like, well, how is this knocking me on my ass so bad? And I didn't know what to do. And I come from the generation of suck it up cupcake, like put your lip liner on and put a smile on and get out there, which I did every day. And but I was suffering in silence. I was really falling apart on the inside, and yet nobody knew because I wasn't talking about it or sharing any of it with anybody. And then I met Daniel, who is the creator and founder of this incredible technique. And how I found this was at the time I owned a gymnastics club for little kids. So I was like 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, again, nonstop mom, like I was a busy girl and didn't really have time to fall apart, nor did I give myself time to fall apart because I feel like if I did, I wasn't going to get up. If I started to cry, I was never going to stop crying. So I just didn't, like I just stayed very stoic on the outside and hid it all, which I think a lot of people do. This particular night, one of my coach's moms knocked on my office door because she was picking her up from work. And I was in my office crying. I had just gotten separated 45 days before that. So a 20-year marriage was now ending on top of the 6 years of hell, on top of the trauma night, which he went through too. But like the two of us just didn't come out of it very good in the sense of together. So this was now over. And it was kind of the last thing for me that was, I had that, like at least I had my marriage and it was, we had each other kind of thing, whether it was a good one or not, I don't even know. But it was just like, it was the last straw that just kind of had me unraveling. And again, I hadn't told anybody. I wasn't sharing this with anybody. But this particular night, this friend walked in and knocked on my door and said, "Hey, sweetie, I ran into this guy I went to high school with at this healing fair last weekend. And he did this work with me, and it's unbelievable. Like, it was absolutely incredible. It works." And she had no idea what I was going through. So she wasn't setting me up with him for me to have a healing session. She was setting me up because I know everybody and I knew how to promote him and I knew how to do like get him out there and all that kind of stuff. So she had actually told him about me, saying, "You got to come up to this little town. This girl knows everybody. She's an international person. Like she's a go-getter. She's like she just gets shit done." So that's what they thought was happening. Meanwhile, inside me, I'm like, "Oh gosh, could this man really help me?" And I had actually on New Year's Eve of that year, so like, kind of 45 days before this event, I had been given a book by my hairdresser and I was reading it, really saying to myself, no more books, man. I'm done. I'm probably the only person on the planet that doesn't know how to like apply this or do this but it just doesn't work for me. Or, maybe I'm just a loser that can't figure it out. I don't know. But I did say to myself on this New Year's Eve, as I'm reading this last chapter, just before I started reading the last actually paragraph, and I said to myself, this is it. This is the last book I'm reading. I am done. Like, I obviously don't know how to do this. And this last paragraph said, there are going to be humans that are coming to the planet that are going to help with this emotional struggle and pain and suffering that the human beings on this planet are going through. And it's gonna get worse. Like it's gonna be more chaotic. And these people are going to help. They're here to help. And I seriously said to God, please let one of these people find me. Please. I mean, I got tears coming down, like my pillow was sopping wet. And I said, please let one of these people find me. Like, whatever I have to do, please let them find me. And 45 days later, my prayer was answered and I met Daniel. And he introduced me to the F.I.X code by doing work with me. Like he did the 5 minute, it takes 5 minutes, the F.I.X code technique. And it feels like a guided meditation. It is so beautiful and so peaceful and honoring of self and physically beautiful. There's so many levels to it in the sense of that it's quantum. It's very quantum mechanical. It's very quantum science. It's very spiritual. It's all sorts of amazing things all at the same time. And he did this work with me on the feeling sad, and I was really sad. And I opened my eyes after this couple of minutes of this technique, and I floated back into my body, and he asked me, he said, "So can you think of anything in your past now that when you think about it makes you feel sad?" And I was like, "Holy crap, I can't. Like, what just happened?" I said, "I can see it. I can see why I was sad. I can see all the reasons why I was sad, but I can't seem to connect with the feeling sad." And I'm like, "This is freaking cool." And I said, and I knew while I was doing it that I was in this presence of excellence. I knew it. Like I could feel the beauty of it, the pureness of it, the excellence of it. And he was very relaxed and wasn't trying to show me anything or show off or presume nothing. He just moved beautifully into this technique and it's his technique. I mean, he created it. And I was blown away. And I then said to him, "I don't know what you just did, but I'm going to figure out what you just did and I'm going to teach the world how to do this." And 16 years later, that is literally what I've been doing. That is what I do. I teach amazing people, everybody from moms who are never going to have a private practice. They just want to learn this for their kids, their family, their friends, their loved ones. And then all the way to practitioners that are kicking butt and have a massive private practice. And I go all the way through and everybody learns it the exact same way. And it is truly a joy of my life to be able to, and honored to be able to teach amazing people how to do this. Also, private practice. And also I have all sorts of other courses that we do that are super, super fun that, anybody can enjoy. You don't have to be spiritual or whatever, just on a path of wanting to learn more about yourself and wanting to get rid of the crap and be unstuck and be like happy again and have joy in your life and feel better physically, like all sorts of stuff. So this technique works on all of it. And it's just, again, so very peaceful and non-invasive. It's a beautiful technique. Yeah. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Uh, like whenever there's some type of event that's been traumatic for someone, there's often many associated sensory inputs that are linked to it. Like, have you run into any of those? I guess now, how does that? How do you sit with that now?
Yeah. So I mean, I this technique helped me with my trauma. And I worked through it really, really quickly. So this works on post-traumatic stress very quickly. It works on trauma like the same way it would work on sad or hurt or betrayed. So it works on whatever you're feeling or whatever your fear is or whatever your trauma is. I mean, it stops post-traumatic stress like that. Like it just stops it because post-traumatic stress is the repetition of the same memory over and over and over again, and it's scaring the crap out of you. Where this technique literally stops the repetition because what's causing the repetition is the feeling and the fear. When we disconnect the fear, whatever that fear is, like the fear of whatever it is, when we disconnect that, the memories go back into the timeline and stay there. They don't get pulled up for no reason and tax the physical body or run the memory. So you get peace. Like it's peace instantly, which anybody with post traumatic stress hasn't felt peace in years. This changes our lives. This this saved my life in the sense of it allowed me to breathe again. It allowed me to have joy and pleasure and be able to think and have clarity. So I know that I went through everything that I've been through on purpose to be able to say, I don't know about anybody else, but I went through it and it helped me. And now I get to help people go through whatever they're going through because I know this technique works and can get them through this really quickly. It's very powerful because of its simplicity. Um,
And so, is it akin? I mean, you talked about a sort of a meditative state, a transcendent state. Can you just talk us through, I guess, the process? I mean, you said it was only 5 minutes, so it's a very short meditation if it's akin to a meditation. Yeah, so I'm interested to understand, like, because to me, there's an element of hypnosis potentially in there as well. And I'm trying to, I guess, understand where this technique fits in the healing modalities.
Yeah, so Daniel is he is a master hypnotherapist of 40 years. He's also a master in NLP because at the time that's all there was. But what happened to Daniel with this technique was those were the foundations of what he learned at the time because that's all there was here. And then he says that he programmed. his unconscious mind, that if anything ever happened to him, the blue light event would happen. And something did happen. And then he had this blue light experience that then started the downloads of remembering who he is, what he knows, and this technique. And so the foundation of hypnotherapy and NLP gave him the words, call it, to be able to put these quantum concepts into words. And it has elements of that. Like, there's really good things about those modalities, but it's hit and miss. He knows he's a master of both of those, and yet the creation that he's created is all that on steroids. Like it's very different. When you experience it, it feels like a guided meditation, and it takes a couple of minutes. This doesn't take 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. It doesn't. So, and there's no reframing. There's no work involved. It is done at there's no breaking of anything. It is truly an organic experience that disconnects the negative emotion from the unconscious mind and the physical body. And it does it every single time because of how he's created it. So there's a genius behind this, obviously. Like his mind is crazy genius. And he sees things that most people don't see, which again, I knew I was in the presence of excellence when I met him and the F.I.X gun. I mean, it was at the same time. I didn't even know his name when he did the work with me. Like, didn't matter because I knew something that pretty incredible was about to happen. And it did. And it has changed my life. It changed my life in that moment. And then I kept asking him for more. And I became a client well, as a client immediately. I was just like, I'm in. This is it. This is the one. This is amazing. And not only did I change my entire life for this, I've dedicated my life to this and to sharing it with the world. And I also figured out what he did in English, like in breakdown, module English, call it, to be able to teach people how to do this. Because when I started asking him, like, why did you do this? How do you do that? And he's like, Stacey, it's like you're asking me to explain how to take a breath. My answer is take a breath.
Mhm.
And I'm like, we need to teach people how to do that. And he's like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, I will help you. So, it took us years to build the online training because I had to ask the right questions to get the right answers from him. And so the training is actually pretty magical in so many ways because it's true real moments happening in real time. And when I built the online training, I was student number one. I was the one that was like, this is so exciting. And I was teaching it as I was learning it and in awe of it and inspired by every word I was saying because I literally was there doing it in real time. So the training is real and raw and exciting. And I share all my whoops and blunders and all, all of my whiteouts and the whole thing because there's so much to learn from all of that. And I say it all throughout the training. So don't feel like you have to go do that. Like I've already done it. So just do it this way because it's so much easier. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of expansion and a lot of like every time you evolve and every time you go into a new level of frequency or evolution or ascension, it becomes scary again. You're in a brand new room. You're in a brand new energy frequency. So it's like, what's this? And more stuff comes up. So many people say to me, really, like you've been doing this long and you still have codes? I'm like, yeah, because I am gonna keep growing. And the more I grow, like I've never been here before. So now I gotta figure out this space. And then so it's kind of like when people say, you play the money game or something and you say, well, how does it feel when you have $5? Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, how does it feel when you have $10? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, how does it feel if you have $50,000? No, like can't do it.
Hmm.
Well, that's evolution. That's expansion, right? And as you go through all the growth spurts, 50,000 a week is no big deal when you've gone through the growth spurts because now it's just like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. I'm fine with it. And now someone says, okay, how do you feel about 1 million a year? And you're like, that's a lot of responsibility until you do the work. And then bam, I'm good. Right. Like every level has got a new set of learnings the same way school does. So it's just like that. And I'll never stop growing. I'll never stop wanting to know more about myself and who I am and how I tick and how I want to become the best version of myself. And if a fear is going to stop me from doing that, I'm going to get the fear. Like the fear is not going to run me. I'm going to like be like, oh, we're good, right? Yeah, you're dead. I'm going to get you right now. Yeah. So
Just,
I put my mental and physical health first for sure.
I'm interested in what the acronym stands for.
Yeah, it's FLEAR. So the F is for FLEAR, which is Daniel's last name. The I is for intuition. So when we do the work, we are intuitively connected. There's an intuition between the two of us, which is rapport. And then the X is for the extraction. So as you try this, you will feel like there's actually an extraction process. And then code is the answer to the magic question. So I'll ask you and your listeners the magic question so you can feel what I'm talking about. Because there's going to be like a feeling or a word, there's going to be a word that pops up almost to the left of you, like where the unconscious mind is like, whoop, you're going to feel it come up. So here we go. Magic question. Biggest problem you have in your life right now when you think about it, that thing that like wakes you up at night, or that thing that drives you crazy when you're driving in your car and you're on your own, or you're like really trying to like shut it down, or you wake up with it in the morning and it's like, oh, I don't want this kind of day. That thing, whatever is that. When you think about it, how does it make you feel? If you could put it in one or two words, what would it be? And whatever you answer, whatever your listeners are answering, that is what the F.I.X code helps you with. And what we do in the extraction process, in the technique, is that when you are finished the technique, it takes a couple minutes. You'll like a guided meditation, so it's very gentle and kind and graceful in a way. When you float back into your body and come back to now, you no longer can feel that feeling. And where a lot of practitioners or modalities gotta get veered off is that they think that the problem, or they identify with the client the problem, which is what the client is thinking about, which is what their mother did, what their kid did, what work did, what their boss said, or whatever. That is not the problem. The problem is how you feel about what you're thinking about. Because how you feel about what you're thinking about is how you feel about a bunch of things, probably thousands of things. And that feeling is attached to thousands of your memories. So every time that feeling is triggered in any way, whatever it is, all of a sudden, not only can you feel it physically, you feel the taxing of the nervous system. Now we're thinking about it and we can't shut it down. We're in a loop. We're yelling at people. We're strategizing. We're coming up with different languages. We're coming up with a plan. We're whatever. We are completely unconscious. We are no longer present at all. Now, this technique, whatever that word was that you said, the feeling, when we do the technique and you float back into your body, and I say to you, okay, can you think of anything now that when you think about it makes you feel that way? And I've never had anybody say, yeah, no, I can still feel that. And if they do say that, like maybe 1% people say that, I'll say, okay, when you think about whatever you're thinking about, how does it make you feel? And they come up with a totally different word. It's a totally different thing already. So the next emotion has popped in to take control or to like kick the crap out of them. But it's gone. Like the thing, we call them parasitic programs, it's gone. And that parasitic program taxes the physical body and runs the mind. We call this the ground illusion, and you're in it and you loop and loop and loop and you're fighting and you're taken down and you're thinking about strategy, how to get revenge, whatever you're doing. And this technique stops that. It stops the loop. It stops the crazy. It stops the talk, the chatter, the monkeys. I call them monkeys in my head. No, so that you come back to presence. It also heals your physical body every single time because these things, they tax our nervous system. So these things are hurting us. And we're not designed to have these things in our body. That is not how we were created, not even a little bit. So this is work. This is like when somebody decides to do the technique and decides to get sessions and that kind of thing or learn how to do it, they are taking one of the biggest steps that they'll ever take because the crazy stops. Because at any time you can use this technique and stop the crazies. And it's gone forever. Every single time.
So at the start of each session, you essentially set the intention around what emotion you're feeling as a result of something happening, and then you're working through that emotion in that session, and I guess disassociating it from it, or removing that attachment, and then in like future sessions, subsequent sessions, certain things happen in life during sessions that, then bring associated emotions with it. And so then people work on that emotion for that next session.
Yeah, yeah. So like a session, I mean, I have sessions that are 15 minutes. So people have me on a retainer and they just text them. We get rid of it because I'll text them the magic question. They give me the answer. I get on the phone or Zoom and we do it. It's 5 minutes and they go on. Like that's it. Like that's their session. I have people that like half an hour sessions because we can do 2 or 3 codes in a half an hour. Right. And they don't want to talk because they know they don't have to talk. So it's just like magic question done, magic question done, magic question done. That's it. We're good. And then there's some people that like to talk. So they want to tell me a little bit. Now, the way that I do the work when they want to talk is I let them talk, of course, like it's their session. But what happens is the moment I figure out what's actually going on, I'll ask them, I'll go, okay, hang on a second. Can you think of anything in your past right now that when you think about it makes you feel, and I say the word and they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, close your eyes. And we do the work. So we just find the code in a different way. And it just depends on the person. And I adapt, and every practitioner that has been trained by Daniel and I adapt in the moment to the person. So each individual doesn't have to fit into a box that we've created. The practitioner adjusts to the client because we can work it, we can find it in many different ways. So it's totally up to the client how they choose to go forward with us. And it's very easy on our part. We just adapt in the moment. It's very easy.
And so when you say code, you're referring to the emotion they're feeling when they come to you is
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Or
Yep.
the emotion whatever they answer when I ask the magic question, biggest problem you have in your life right now. When you think about it, don't tell me what it is. I don't need to know what it is. When you think about it, how does it make you feel? Whatever you answer is what we're going to do the work on. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And it takes 5 minutes.
yeah, so when you ask that magic question, they actually teleport to that moment, experience the feeling, and then you're working like a meditation style or guided meditation style to really separate them and I guess that feeling associated with what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's how Daniel has created the language in the quantum space that creates the results of it gone every single time. Like
Mhm.
that's the genius of all of it. So yeah, I mean, it is really simple when you try it. So I'd actually like to invite you and all of your listeners to come to thefixedcode.com, the website, and book a complimentary session because we have an entire team of people who are volunteering to help people try this, to volunteer their time to do this work with people so that people can try it and see whether they like it or not. And if they like it, then they can either learn how to do it or they can book sessions or they can take courses that are like super fun courses, not learning how to do it, but learning about themselves, whether it's, igniting your passion to purpose or breaking out of the maze or, the bridge to your authentic self. Like we've got lots of fun things to do backed up and fueled by the fixed code technique. So yeah, there's so many ways that you can have fun with this and participate in it and just do your own healing because it's pretty darn amazing.
Have you, given that you're from the States and there's a big veterans cohort in the States, I've even, I guess, run facilitator sessions for people in the States that are veterans. We've got a war, well, there's always a war that the US is involved with at any point in time. Yeah, I was just wondering, have you worked with veterans through post-traumatic stress?
I haven't, and I'm actually Canadian,
Okay,
just so you
okay,
know.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but many of our practitioners do because that's their passion. Like, see, my passion is teaching people how to do this, so that's kind of where I stay in my lane. It doesn't mean that I haven't worked with veterans before because they find me and then they book me as a practitioner, like they book me as a private client, which I have done many times, and absolute post-traumatic stress. Like, and then they tell a friend and they're like, you got to go to Stacey. You got to do this. Like, this was incredible because they moved through their post-traumatic stress quickly. They moved through their physical pain quickly. They moved through fear of being able to get up and do it again or get up and face the day or whatever is going on with them. Um, absolutely. This is very powerful and it's very powerful with everything from grief, like grief counseling to addiction counseling to anybody that is out there counseling people, having this technique in your repertoire to be able to help people in the moment is incredible. It is so powerful because you pull it out when you need it. to help somebody
And
in the moment.
just to understand, like, I guess the duration you'd typically work with someone, like, so how many sessions does someone generally attend for a particular issue?
Oh, we can have the issue solved in one extraction, so it could be 5 minutes. Now, the goal is though is that like there's more than one. But when if somebody's thinking about one particular thing and they want that solved, we potentially could have that done in one session. I mean, I don't know because you could have five feelings connected to the same event. You could have one, and it changes everything,
Yes.
right? So the event could be neutralized with one feeling. With me, it tends to be a couple more than that. I tend to pile on the emotions on the one event. So I may go back to the same one more than once, but in a very short period of time, like in a half an hour, that event is completely neutral from all angles. And it's like, wow, that's cool. Like it's neutral and it's gone back into my timeline where it belongs in the past. And I never think about it ever.
So
It's so cool.
it's very
So
much like
yeah.
layers of an onion in essence, like, so it depends on
Oh yeah.
how many layers that person or layers of emotion that person has associated with that event, and you could have one particular layer that unravels everything if they, choose that
Yes.
particular emotion, then everything just dissolves and neutralizes.
Yes.
Whereas
Yes.
they could choose another layer and it doesn't quite have the same effect. So it really just yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So here's an example. Someone could answer the magic. They're thinking about something, and what they say to me is they feel hurt. So okay, fine. We do the extraction hurt, and yet now they come back to now, and I'm like, okay, when you think about that event now, how does it make you feel? And they're like, well, I still feel hurt. And I'm like, okay, do you have another word? And they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm angry, man. I am angry because hurt and angry kind of feel the same, right? Like, yeah. So they don't feel hurt anymore, but man, are they angry. And it's like, okay, close your eyes. And now we've just done hurt and angry, and that's gone in every one of your events in your life that you have ever felt hurt and angry. It's gone. Because the problem isn't what you're thinking about. The problem is how you feel about what you're thinking about. Because after the extraction, you still have your memories. This isn't a lobotomy. You still have your memories, but you no longer feel hurt when you think about that memory. It's gone, which makes the event very different. Your perspective of the event is incredible. It's totally different if you don't feel hurt about that. But man, am I angry? Okay, let's get rid of that. And we get rid of angry. And now you no longer feel angry about anything. Not just that one event, about anything. Because our memories are linked to emotion. So when we disconnect the feeling, every memory that we had that felt that way is now neutral. Like it's genius what he's figured out. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So teaching it is truly an honor. Like I feel very blessed.
Oh, you can
Yeah.
tell. It's very obvious. State the obvious.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, how can the listeners best connect with you, find you, and book this complimentary session?
Thank you so much. Just head to thefixcode.com. It's right there when you open the website. It's the first thing you see. Just fill in your name and your email, click the button. You're going to go over to a little questionnaire, which is basically the magic question, and you just tick off some boxes, or you push other because none of them resonate with you. Just keep clicking over, submit, kind of keep submitting. You're going to get a little blurb about what it feels like before and after. And then you're going to submit, and you're going to get to a page, and I think it's in baby pink right now, but it says book here. Hit that button, you're going to be popped over to a practitioner page. Every single person on that page is absolutely incredible. And they're all very caring and supportive and wonderful people. And they're very highly trained in this technique and they would love to help you. They literally volunteer their time to help people. So you can try this. If it's for you, awesome. Book sessions with a practitioner, pop over, take some courses, have some fun. And if you really want to bring it home, learn how to do this because then it's yours forever. But yeah, it's all right there at thefixcode.com, and you can ask questions in your private session with your practitioner, and you can actually book two of them. Like I really want you to find somebody that you like and that you resonate with and that you enjoy, because potentially they could be somebody that's very important in your life that's going to help you when you need it.
And just one last question that's popped into my mind. Given your background and your upbringing. I was just wondering if you've worked with athletes, because I can imagine this would be very helpful for athletes because it's an emotional roller coaster when you're a competitor. Injuries, not winning what you want or not, meeting expectations, all those sort of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I love working with athletes. I think because I understand them, and because I was myself an athlete. I was a gymnast. So I understand the ups and downs. I understand the fear. I understand the letdowns, the not measuring up, the feeling of letting everybody down, like, oh my gosh, on and on. The fear of falling, the fear of getting hurt, all of that, letting my team down. So yes, working with athletes is very enjoyable because the results are very quick with them because it's usually one little thing that's in their way, and then they just they catapult into their greatness. But I love working with everybody. I love working with 5 year olds. I love working with 90 year olds. I love working with CEOs. I love working with moms. So this just helps people, and I'm in the game of helping people and empowering people by learning how to do that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you. I really appreciate you coming on, Stacey. And to the
thank you.
listeners, please share this with others that you feel that are emotionally stuck, that would be wanting to be emotionally free from their stuckness. Please share this with them and spread it far and wide so that we can allow them to be liberated from their emotional stuckness. Really appreciate you coming on, Stacey. And thank you once
Thank
again.
you. Thank you very much.
You're
Take
welcome.
care.
Thank you.
Podcast disclaimer. This podcast and any information, advice, opinions, or statements within it do not constitute medical, healthcare, or professional advice and are provided for general information purposes only. All care is taken in the preparation of the information in this podcast. Connected Wellness Proprietary Limited, operating under the brand me&my Health Up, does not make any representations or give any warranties about its accuracy, reliability, completeness, or suitability for any particular purpose. This podcast and any information, advice, opinions, or statements within it are not to be used as a substitute for professional, medical, psychological, psychiatric, or any other mental health care or healthcare in general. me&my Health Up recommends you seek the advice of a doctor or qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Inform your doctor of any changes that you may to your lifestyle and discuss these with your doctor. Do not disregard medical advice or delay visiting a medical professional because of something you hear in this podcast. This podcast has been carefully prepared on the basis of current information. Changes in circumstances after publication may affect the accuracy of this information. To the maximum extent permitted by the law, me&my Health Up disclaims any such representations or warranties to the completeness, accuracy, merchantability, or fitness for purpose of this podcast and will not be liable for any expenses, losses, damages incurred, indirect or consequential damages or costs that may be incurred as a result of the information being inaccurate or incomplete in any way and for any reason. No part of this podcast can be reproduced, redistributed, published, copied, or duplicated in a form without prior permission of me&my Health Up.